noise that you make, or is noise the wrong word? The noise that you make does fit to this weather.
Yeah, I think so. I think noise is the perfect word.
But what do you want to reach with this noise? Do you want to spread aggression?
No, not really. Just want to make some sounds that maybe people might not hear the rest of the day.
What is so attractive to making this sound?
It's fun. It's like a little kid with a really big toy.
Okay, it's fun, but it's so loud.
What, are you saying you don't like it?
Yeah, well, I like it.
No, come on. Don't, he's lying to people. He's lying.
Well, no. I like some parts of it, but it's so loud all over. It's constantly loud.
I know. Can you believe it? Yeah.
By the way, I get that this is mine now.
How about
20? Why don't you just relax a little bit? It's only $20.
Life.
What have you found about most of the people that are the street performers?
Well, it's a job like anything else, and they'd probably rather be doing that than washing dishes for somebody. They're very dedicated.
Probably playing spoons rather than washing the spoons.
Well, he doesn't have to wash his spoons because he's so famous now that he has someone else do that for him.
And he's
Spoon tech.
and a man with spoons.
Yes.
And so, you just saw this guy and you decided to write a song about him?
Well, he's been around for a while, and actually, the song came about from well, it's a long story. Do you guys want to hear it?
Not really.
I don't
Can you sum it up real quick?
I don't want to tell it.
I said
They're good. Yeah, it's European is the one thing, and then the other thing is it's like you have to take a long flight over there, and then you feel sort of stranded, and the food's different, and it's European.
bleak.
No, it's great. We love going to Europe. Actually, it's really cool.
Oh, you spent a lot of time at the San Diego Zoo, right?
I've only been there once. It was depressing.
You guys are winding up a European tour. How's that been working out for you?
Really awful, actually. No.
What do you look for in a bowling ball?
I look for really big holes, and we got some good-looking balls here, and
Because these are quite, I guess, as balls would go.
This is a good-looking ball. Sexy. It's kind of marbly. It's silver. Silver's cool.
But it looks like the holes are too small.
So I'm gonna say screw this. It's good looking, but I don't like it.
What would you?
You can't dance to Soundgarden songs, and you're not likely to go shopping with your girlfriends while listening to Soundgarden material. So
You can dance to Soundgarden songs, but
Yes,
it's
I was gonna say, I
embarrassing.
don't agree with you there.
Meet the new member of Soundgarden.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Ben Shepherd, the new member of Soundgarden, bass player extraordinaire, tallest member of the band,
Skinny.
and the skinniest.
So the bands kind of work together a lot and influence each other?
Well, it's all sort of a managerial type of thing, we all completely hate each other, and all these things are just arranged by like the Seattle Kingpins and cigar chomping people. They just usher us around in limousines, and we sort of perform on each other's records.
they get us together during picnics and take photos and release them around. See, they are friends.
Yeah. I don't know why they insist on this unity thing. It's really getting tiring.
Go.
There's been a lot of talk lately, a lot of slander, a lot of talk about Eric July, Ison, and I find it terrible. There's a lot of people out there that want to hate, They criticise Ison like it's filth. Criticism is racism. And I want you to understand that. If society's taught me anything, is that as white people should be utilising our white shame, our white guilt, and supporting all black artists, no matter how mediocre they are. Sure, Eric July might just be in it for the money. He might be a bit arrogant and condescending, but he's a black artist, and you've got to support him. Because without support for our black artists, what would they have? You shouldn't be criticising black artists' work. It's just not on. It's not on. It's totally racist and bigoted. So I would like to say, leave Eric alone. And for all you white people out there having a go at him, try utilising some of your white guilt. Every black artist deserves to be supported. And Eric's a conservative. There's not many of them. It's a sad state of affairs. It really hits me in the heart. I mean, sure, Eric July might use a lot of CGI and graphics and computer-generated art, but that's not the point. He does it anyway, and he's doing it on his own. He's a strong, independent black man, and he's making money. And you lot can't do anything but hate on him. How sad and pathetic you must be. I'm not naming any names, but you know who you are. You know all the ones that have been mean to Eric. You've been mean to him. Mean. And he's not on. He's not on. He's the best thing since Malcolm X.
I told that moron not to take out my Tchaikovsky tape. No matter, let's get started. Here we are, Nancy Moon. The last time we left our heroine, she had just joined my esteemed colleagues at level M. And the soldier who cannot stop talking, a magician with money issues, a vampire with a checkered past. With their other teammates she's yet to meet, one in particular might be a little bit shocking for her. I do hope she's not allergic. Back in today, won't you? Like right meow.
Gasoline, no kerosene, now you seem to burn up right before your eyes, not in disguise. I will tear myself out of sight, and you still got a little pride. So burn your scripts, no one escapes, because you're right to walk out. I won't let these chains of material fashion cut off my hands from their plans for transcendent action. After all is what she said she wanted. I won't let go of the sense I get to feel. And you sit around and you walk, something surprising to you are the ones in the skyscraper cemeteries. I kept hooked on ignorance and that pathetic indifference to a dead sentence they receive in the first grade of a life and a home and a hope that can never really be made. While a non-profit white. All the while with sweet smiles and political guile, reaching millions a year. And the world's what she did. She wanted. I won't let go of the sense I need to feel. Still running wild, don't be surprised when you wake up and find the same sister. Oh yeah. No, I won't. I can't. No, I won't. Cause you will not want to get the I can't forget all the shame of what's getting said. I won't. Even with the one I do, I want baby. I can't forget all the blood in your fucking ass. Somewhere, somehow, someone, somewhere, somehow, someone, somewhere, somehow, someone, somewhere, somehow, someone. Somewhere, somehow, someone, 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 somewhere, somehow, someone.
Well. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, once again to another edition of the Comicsgate Commandos. How are we doing tonight? I don't want to steal another one of Johnny's lines. You amazing folks, you. I heard him say, "Hello, you lovely lot," and I'm like, that's awesome. Oh, fuck. I said fuck within the first 30 seconds. Damn it. Does it count if I played those 30 minutes of advertisements first? Anyway, I'm sorry. It's been a rough week. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce my co-host and the Colonel Carbon Hart. What's up, Carbon?
Hail. Good to see you, Patrick.
You too. How you been, man?
I'm surviving. I'm grateful for everything I have and the health and being able to take action as we need to right now because it's getting serious. It's gotten serious.
Oh, yeah. I don't have any idea what you're talking about. No, I'm just kidding. But before we get into that, let's say hello to the chat first. So in the chat, we've got Gray Cloudy Day. This is his first time here. What's up, man? How you doing today? I hope it's not a gray cloudy day where you are. We've got Mr. Self-Destruct hoping that Jimmy Reyes is doing better. I hope Jimmy Reyes is doing better too. The poor guy, he seems like to have a lot of health issues. That happened while I was off the internet for
something new happened with him?
Yeah, he had some kind of gosh, what was it? I was just watching his stream the other night. What was it was something, I think an infection, I want to say. And they were saying it was like it could have been life-threatening. And he was like, "Are you kidding me? Like, I've had cancer, I've had a heart condition. I'm not going to let this get me." So he's in good spirits about it. That's good.
As of today, he's okay though, right? I saw him post. He posted on Twitter.
Well, he's still alive. So I don't know how good he's feeling right now, but you know, if you guys pray, please give him a prayer because he's an incredibly talented individual, one of the most talented in Comicsgate, and you know, we want to see him continue to make beautiful art for everybody. I don't know if you guys have backed Dragon Rage, but you ought to. He essentially, you know what? I'm gonna promote this later, and we'll go through the whole thing. I have another book I want to promote as well, but let's get through the chat here. We've got Johnny Scab in the chat. Never heard of him. We've got what's up, Johnny? I'm so mean to Johnny when he's in the chat. I like say fuck you and shit to him. I'm sorry, Johnny. You know I love you. Are you threatening me? Says Mr. Self-Destruct. Hell yeah, brother. Look at that. Oh, look at that. Mr. Self-Destruct is. I think that means he kind of likes me.
Rainbow hearts.
We've got Nicholas McHugh here, who actually now is able to stream with people and hop on streams. So, Colonel Carbonheart, if you don't mind, I'm gonna have him come on like after I get through the chat here. I think I'll have him pop on here if that's all right with you.
Well, how could I object?
Yeah, that's right. That's an order, soldier. Who else do we have here? We've got the Squid. What's up, Squid? I think I saw you on EVS's channel commenting. Correct me if I'm mistaken. I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure that was you. Yeah, we've got everybody here. We've got Carbon Heart here. What's up, man? We've got. Wait, Katie. Oh, there she is. Okay, I didn't see it at first. What's up, Katie? How you doing? Actually, Katie, if you want to come on too, feel free. We're going to be talking about all kinds of stuff. I just you know, putting my finger up into the air after coming back from the internet for a week. I think that the Trump thing is the most pressing topic that people want to talk about. I will talk about whatever people want to talk about. Although, you know, you guys know, if you watched long enough, you know I only really want to talk about the Nephilim. But here we are talking about comics and all kinds of other stuff.
It's been 2 weeks, and so there is a lot that's happened.
Yeah.
So there's a lot that we could bring up and go through. And, yeah, you know, we're going to let out our feelings. We're going to let out our thoughts.
That's right. I rely upon you, Carbon, to bring up good topics over the past week that I wasn't, you know, the only thing that I really am cognizant of right now is the whole Trump assassination attempt. At least for the past week and a half.
Did you go on vacation or are you just working?
Well, it's like this. Social media is like poison to the human mind. And I never used to have it before I wanted to make this comic book. So I got social media. I got Twitter only. I only have Twitter to promote my comic book, essentially. And but I spent too much time on it. Like I'd sit down and I would like hop on it instantly. And it's so depressing. Like everybody's always arguing. And the thing about me is like I don't agree with anybody 100%. So I'm always like finding some reason to like be upset with something somebody posted. And I just got so down in the dumps. I was like, fuck this. I'm just gonna stop. I'm gonna get off Twitter for a little bit here and get off YouTube.
Yeah, you picked a good time to take a break because a lot of the stuff that was being posted, you know, after the attempt was pretty infuriating. You know, there were people saying things that, you know, could potentially incite even more violence. And so it was a good time to step away. I actually put my phone on Do Not Disturb the day after. And I kept it on Do Not Disturb for days because I was going to blow up on somebody if they said something stupid to me about that.
So, do you get notifications on your phone from Twitter?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. I think that's something that I've avoided. Like, I just haven't done that to my phone. And honestly, I'd probably be way more unhappy if I had notifications on. I realized social media is like guerrilla warfare. You got to jump in, cause some shit, and then hop out, and then jump back in later and be like, "What'd I do?"
Well, you know, it's funny because we talked about this the other day. It used to be like, you know, social media was a hobby, but now it's almost unavoidable if you want to be pushing a business or like, you know, having some kind of presence out there, it's like it's a double-edged sword, you know. And the truth is, I've accepted it. I've accepted that we need to be on social media. We need to be speaking up. And honestly, thank God for Twitter, because and Elon Musk buying it. This is something a lot of people are taking for granted, because it's true. Before he bought it, during the 2020 election, you had the shadow campaign, which silenced people, and yeah, now you can actually say for the most part, you can share your views, and it's the biggest source of news in the world, or at least for the Western world.
Yeah. It's wild to think about. I mean, I only got on Twitter because Elon Musk bought it. I looked at how unhappy not everybody on Twitter, but you know, the loud majority that apparently was the deciding voice for all of America for, you know, however long it was. You know, people would post on Twitter and Twitter would be, you know, horribly left leaning, and then everybody assumed, well, that's what the masses think. And I think that once Elon bought it, that became a myth, and not the kind of myth that's real like the old gods, like an actual like fake thing.
Yeah, you know, they used to refer to it as the silent majority. Remember that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Remember that? Because there was a vocal minority online, and there was a silent majority. But now everybody is speaking their mind, and I'm happy about that. And
me too. I'm happy, and I'm going to say this too. Like, I'm happy that there are people on there who other people despise and think shouldn't be on there. Like, I don't know what your feelings about Nick Fuentes are. I don't really want to talk about him tonight, but I'm glad that he is allowed on Twitter. I'm glad. I really am, because that's a win for freedom of speech. I really do think that. That's going to be a topic we're going to bring up later today, freedom of speech in regards to the Trump assassination. And I don't think a lot of people are going to be happy with what I have to say about that, but this is what discussion's about. This is freedom of speech. That's what it's about.
Yeah.
We've got Kevin Everson. What's up, Kevin? He says, got your book today just before I had to come to work. Fantastic, dude. I hope you give it a read. I really do hope you guys enjoy this. I will say, as like a, you know, this is not a one and done comic. So when you read this, don't expect the full story to come to a complete, you know, end within one issue. That's never what this was intended to be. It's more like an Attack on Titan / Game of Thrones type ensemble. I don't want to use the word epic because that sounds ostentatious, but a long form story arc is essentially what this is. And you guys backing me is what gives me the ability to continue to tell the story. Even if you don't back me, I'm going to continue to tell the story because I have to. It's the task that's been given me. Ellie, the Skibidi Rizzler, says, what is CG Commandos? What a great question. What a great question. And we have Johnny himself here, the original general, to answer that. Comicsgate Commandos are the final bastion of defense against the enemies of Comicsgate. That's right. That is exactly right. Mr. Self-Destruct says, Katie probably knows more of the story. Jimmy got really sick and changed his book to black and white only. Then Kings called him in and told him they're going to make it happen in color. Did they really? Did I miss that? That's fucking amazing.
Oh, you didn't know about this? Yeah,
I knew something about black and white, but I didn't know they called him in and were like, yeah, we're going to make it happen in color. Oh my gosh.
Well, he revealed it on stream and that's a little bit, let me get into detail there. What happened was he explained that originally it was going to be in color, but he had an issue with his colorist not being able to complete it. And so he had to take the concession to make it black and white. And he already got it printed in black and white. So he has the books coming in black and white. And on Twitter, there were a bunch of people complaining to him. And so you had a bunch of people whining, and it kind of caused a commotion that led to the conversation on Ethan's stream. And Ethan, he gave his 2 cents, but ultimately everyone said that they wish he had said something earlier. Because if he had said something earlier, before having to make that call, they would have intervened. But now, apparently, Ethan's going to do a new cover. so that it can fund printing a color version. And
are you saying, real quick, are you saying Ethan's going to draw a cover for him?
yeah, he's going to do a cover for Dragon Rage. And they're going to promote that and basically fund printing a colored version. And it looks like Jimmy apparently is teaching himself how to color. So a couple of days ago, he did a live stream in which he actually colored his page on stream. And to be honest, it looks pretty good. It looks passable.
Good.
Like, it looks just as good as anything else I've seen. Well, not everything, but good enough, that's for sure. And so I'm thinking that he's probably going to try to color the whole book. And good on them.
Yeah, that'd be sick. I mean, it's a lot more work for him to do, especially if he's sick. But I mean, and honestly, I wouldn't have complained about it black and white because, like, have you seen his line work? I mean, come on. Like, Jimmy Reyes is really good.
It does look very good. I think it's going to turn out well. I'm happy about that.
Good. We've got Mr. Perfect here. He says, hail PQ and Carbon Heart. Hail the chat. Hail. What's going on, dog? Thanks for joining us. Who else do we have here? I'm scanning. Okay, I think I've got everybody. Thank you, Gray Cloudy Day. I appreciate it. I will follow you back. Johnny Scab says C, which is short for cunt. That's not very nice at all. You shouldn't call us that. Here we have the Silent Minority. Hello, Silent Minority.
What's going on? You don't even know who this is.
I know exactly who it is.
I was about to ask where you were, Doctor.
Yeah, I couldn't figure out when we were supposed to get here. Like, then I saw it was already going, and I was like, oh, okay. But yeah, this is you go to the part I like.
Probably because last time we were on, I was kind of late. It'll always start at 7:30 in my time, so whatever that time was for you, whatever 30 was for you.
Okay.
But what do you got there?
That's what I'm saying. That's the Silent Minority right there. It's him punching out old Uncle Adolf.
Oh.
And then some other 60s heroes. I think these are supposed to be like actually like 40s heroes is what they're supposed to be. But a couple copies of the
guy's got a sick eye patch.
Yeah.
You know he's a badass because he's got an eye patch.
I liked the idea of it, of like you could take like any old comic and turn it into like a Silent Minority comic by like just like looking for like people in the crowd and then like taking a pen and like coloring it in like they have an eye patch and be like, look, there he is in the background. Right. Silently.
This guy's actually super special to the story. Yeah. Well, hey, okay, so I did say earlier, by the way, folks who are listening in, this is Dr. Ben. Another one of the Comicsgate Commandos. He's not, his face isn't there right now, but maybe it will be later. Also, Doctor, if you wouldn't mind when you're not speaking, muting yourself. I feel like there's something going on with your mic where it's making here, I'll do it for you.
Yeah, it's probably there's a fan. Like I would die if the fan was not on. You know, like
no, don't turn the fan off. Just when you're not speaking. Mute yourself. I can see that you're muted so that when you unmute yourself, I'll shut up like I do with Carbon.
Oh, really?
Well, then again, maybe not. I generally don't shut up, but okay. But Nicholas McHugh said he wants to join us tonight. I don't have any issue with that, and neither did Colonel Carbon Heart. So technically, you're outvoted, so your vote doesn't matter, Dr. Ben. So we're gonna have Nicholas McHugh on. Nick, when you're ready. I should just fucking send you the link, shouldn't I? How dumb of me. All right.
Now, Patrick.
Carbon, tell us how your week's... Go ahead.
I feel like we might as well get into the biggest topic, which is, of course, the assassination attempt. Because clearly we're going to be talking about... I thought you were going to say me shipping my comic book out, but okay. No, I'm just kidding. That's another big topic. It's another big one.
That joke landed flat. All right, continue, Carbon. I'm gonna.
I did see that though on Twitter, and so I should be receiving it soon. I didn't get it yet, but as soon as I get it, I'll be reading it and letting you know. But
Please.
Yeah, no, it's surreal. I mean, it's almost to the point where people, I feel like everyone wants to talk about it, but they're hesitant to, and even the media as it stands right now, and I'm talking about all media coverage, seems a bit like in a chokehold in regards to. Oh, very nice, Dr. Ben. Very nice. You got your tribute page right there. That's awesome. Yeah, let's talk about that. Iconic photo, beyond iconic. I mean, talk about like the entire thing is just beyond surreal. Some people called it miraculous. In terms of, you know, being within literally millimeters of death, it is a miracle for Trump. Unfortunately, the death of that firefighter, that's not a miracle. We have to remember somebody did die. Corey Comarande. Yeah, I apologize for not having that last name correct. But yeah, no, and it's been said that his death, in a sense, was a sacrifice because it proved that the event was not staged. A lot of people still have the gall right now to still be. I'm shocked there's people still saying that it was staged. Trump did this to win sympathy, to win votes. I mean, it's utter insanity. It's people with blinders on their eyes, refusing. I mean, all you have to do is watch. I watched it live, actually. And when those shots rang out, and then he tumbled to the ground. That was insane. At first, I thought actually for a moment it might be over. A lot of us had those moments. If you saw it live, it's like if he got hit, this could be it. But then when he came up, and there was that moment where you could tell that he was all right, because Secret Service was holding him, he could stand. I have to admit, I was teary-eyed as well when he walked off and he did the fist bump, because I mean, we're talking about, for Americans and actually for the world, this is one of the most important elections coming up. And the potential winner of the election being murdered, yes, it's a serious topic. It's a problem.
Yeah. Here, real quick, I want to introduce, ladies and gentlemen, and if I'm not mistaken, he'll correct me if I am, for the first time ever on any stream on Comicsgate, we have Nicholas McHugh. Everybody give a warm round of applause to Nicholas McHugh. What's up, dog? How you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
Good. Nice to see you.
Hey, welcome.
You look kind of like
Good
Tucker
evening.
Carlson.
Hey, Carmen.
Tucker
Not
Carlson?
the first stream. I did go on one on the night of the the assassination attempt. It's the first time. I went on BTM reviews. One of the stream I mod for. But this is technically the first Comicsgate specific stream, I guess you could say.
Okay. Well, we're glad to have you, Nick. Thanks for coming on, man.
Thank you.
I will let you guys continue speaking about this. I see what my goal tonight for me was just to kind of like to provide the argument that you guys could argue with. So just be aware of that.
Okay. Well, I mean, I gave my introduction to the topic, and obviously, Dr. Ben could respond, or you, or Nicholas.
Let's go, Dr. Ben first, and then Nick. And I'm gonna move.
What do you want to know?
Well, you fucking son of a bitch. We all know exactly what you're doing.
It's a picture. I drew this. This is not.
Oh my god.
Look, there's a pizza on the back of it.
What do you want to know? How do you? Okay, so let's just go. Like how everybody's got their 9/11 story. Where were you? What was happening? How'd you feel? Yada yada.
I was here at my desk. Like I looked onto. I think I looked onto Twitter and saw like something about it, and then I had the TV on too, and it was on Cecil's channel. Cecil, what is this channel? Cecil Says. Is that it?
Yeah.
On there, and it was just him basically like just covering like that initial news of like getting hit and falling, and then like the image of him like coming back up and being like, yeah, like I was just like, holy shit. Like,
were you surprised? Were you shocked?
Not initially. Like, I think I feel like more shocked like now. Like, this is what, Wednesday, and like it happened on Saturday. So it was like after like the first day or something. Like, it's just like, holy shit! Like they really fucking tried to shoot him. Like that just happened, and they're all like, now they're just like, oh fuck. Like,
the Squid says, I was playing Mario Party 7 when it happened. Discord started blowing up.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it was just, you know, that sort of like initial like disbelief, because there's like, you know, there's all those pictures that they've done before of all the people wanting to kill him and everything, you know. Like, I know there's one where it's like it's an image of him like at like a speaking event, like laying on the ground, and they're like, Trump dead, or you know, whatever. So that's what I'm saying. Like, that's my initial thing always, like, right. And then like you look at it and it's like, oh shit, that's really real. Like, what the fuck? So I mean, not even that like I initially thought it was fake, but just like it took like, I was like, oh wait, what? Did he get shot? Because like first they were saying too that it was a splinter of glass from the teleprompter, which they have since debunked or said that no, it was not that. Or maybe that could have also hit him too, is one thing to consider. It's not like we don't have like his medical record, like the ER, like you know what I'm saying? Like that's all like top secret information, irregardless, you know. But that's what I'm saying. It's like initially I was just like, holy shit, like just watching everything happen, and then like seeing like all the fucking weirdos are all, Mom, you fucking missed, blah, 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 all whine. I'm just like, are you kidding? Just everything is always okay. Well, that's what it is then. Like,
nice.
You know, yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like that's what it is. Because like, I mean, we see this is like what, just barely like a couple days later, and they're like already trying to move on to like other stories and just go like. I think they're trying to like overwhelm everything with potential other like stories to occupy people or something. You know what I'm saying? Like other things to be like, oh, what would happen
the media?
over here? Yeah, well, you know what I'm saying? Like they're trying to figure out something else that they can be like, well, see, you know, like that happened like a few days ago. We're in the 21st century. We're already on to Jack Black's response to his cousin who said that he doesn't like Trump.
Even on the day of and Sunday, they buried that story. If you went on your phone's top headlines, nothing about him being shot. And you saw the headlines from every liberal piece of shit newspaper did not explicitly say that he was shot at or that it was an assassination attempt. They go, Trump injured and escorted by Secret Service. That was the gist of it for most of those headlines.
Before we get into that bullshittery, though, Nick, where were you? How did it make you feel? Did you expect it? You know, all the above.
I wouldn't say I expected it, for sure. I don't like to put that kind of energy out into the universe, so to speak. But I found out, I guess, about roughly a half hour after it actually occurred. And sort of, I mean, without going into it too much, I guess, exactly what Carbon was just talking about, how it was, my first impression for at least the first 10 minutes was that Trump fell down. Because I looked on like Apple News on my phone. And everything that I saw on there was popping noises. Trump dives to ground. Trump falls down, and nothing was displaying anything with the pictures with the blood or anything like that, which is pretty pertinent to it. I mean, they would have had that immediately anyway, which is very weird. So that like perplexed me. And then just like Dr. Ben was saying, like Cecil was on at the time. So I started watching that stream about like 10 or 15 minutes after I found out about it. And that is definitely weird. Like it, especially I'd never lived through one of these kind of events before myself. Well, I guess I lived through one, but I was too young for when the attempt on Reagan when I was a little kid.
Mm-hmm.
I would only have been like 2 or 3, I guess. But seeing how, because I've been to a few presidential events, been to actually multiple presidential events. And once you're a president, at least for 10 years under current U.S. law, at least for after 10 years, they changed it during Obama. It used to be lifetime. But during Obama, they did change it to 10 years. A former president has Secret Service protection. They don't have quite the same, like how it doesn't extend to like their family necessarily or anything like that, but they have Secret Service protection. And to know that, and to see like, I mean, that, because this is why I hopped on a stream that night. I was like, what the hell? Like that building was not that far away. There's some weird shit going on here. Like, I'm not saying I know the answers but the more we find out, I mean, the more obvious questions that there are. Not to mention the whole DI or DEI memes that are going on about it. I mean, my grandfather had the privilege of protecting Kennedy for a day or two when Kennedy was running for president. Like I have pictures of it. Like there's definitely not a woman protecting him.
Bro, I was gonna make a joke there. Like, oh, he didn't do very well, did he? Sorry.
My namesake was actually not my namesake, but someone that does share my last name actually did guard Kennedy's body on Air Force One. No known relation though. But that is a funny thing.
Yeah. Carbon, I feel like you're.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, in the days following the event and video footage coming out and all the interviews of the crowd that we've seen by now, and I don't know if you guys have delved in. I'm pretty much present online all day, every day, so I see pretty much everything that gets released, even on the scary, hidden, creepy networks also. But apparently there is aerial footage. There's an aerial photo of the entire area, and then there's also another video angle in which you could see the Secret Service counter snipers who actually neutralized the shooter. And now that we pretty much have as much information as we're going to get about the details of the event, and now that it's out, I am going to conclusively say, and I don't care that I'm saying this publicly, the fact that the counter snipers from Secret Service that are visible on video aiming at the shooter waited until the shooter took shots is a demonstration that A or B, either A, the counter snipers deliberately were waiting until the shots to happen themselves, right? Or, as this is another rumor, that they were given orders, that the counter sniper from SS was given orders from higher up in Secret Service to not fire until the shooter took shots. In either case, that's a failure on their end, which demonstrates that it was deliberate. To me, that's all that matters, because you could talk about the preceding 30 minutes and everything, which is also very damning. You've seen the video taken from people's cell phones of the shooter crawling on the roof, right?
Oh yeah.
Up to half an hour beforehand. That's already suspicious. Forget about all that. I'm talking about the last few seconds. The last 30 seconds is what matters the most. They had him in sight. It's proven now on video. They waited for the shots to happen and then they neutralized them. Okay, it's fishy. This was deliberate.
Um,
Yeah, I don't think you can say much more than that, honestly. And it's because I mean we don't know anything, but it's patently obvious that there's some weird stuff. It's either the most colossal fuck up in Secret Service history, and I'm sure they've had a lot of fuck ups, but then this one, it was so preventable. They had so much to be able to prevent it with.
Well, Nicholas, that's the reasonable answer. You're completely right, and that's why I tried to use language that was kind of generic. But the truth of the matter is, how could you not call it deliberate? Not you specifically, but you're seeing somebody aiming at the presidential candidate. You're not stopping them. I mean, at this point, you can't even call that negligence or incompetence. It's just downright, you're not trying to save the candidate.
Here's a question I'd like to pose to the both of you before we get into further conspiratorial, because this is just, ladies and gentlemen, this is just surface level. I've got all kinds of shit I'm ready to go here on. The first thing I would like to ask you guys is it more likely that this is a result of, and this is a or B question, because we can get into nitty-gritties later, but is it more likely that the reason this occurred is because the SS is woefully incompetent, or because they're essentially paid off to do this and they did it on purpose?
Well, I think one thing to consider is in the last 10 years, at least, we've seen a few different occurrences of police departments failing to protect children from school shooters. Like, I mean, there's at least two, but I don't, I know the one in Uvalde, and I know there's another one. I'm not sure of the name of it, but I know I've heard of at least two instances of multiple police officers, through cowardice, I'm assuming, refused to go and do their fucking job.
That's very true also.
But
I mean,
but does cowardice really first of all, what's up, Tony? How you doing, man? But first of all, does cowardice now, I just don't think that cowardice factors into this. What are they being afraid? Like, the guys, you as the SS agent with the sniper rifle,
they're gun
have a
shy.
gun.
Well,
that female Secret Service agent, when she's all fumbling around her fucking gun and everything.
Right.
That's cowardice.
Well, apparently
That's
there was
gun shy.
another instance of cowardice, because there's a claim that a police officer, local police, climbed up the ladder to check out the roof. This is a claim, because all the people who were saying, "Hey, look at the roof, there's a guy up there," an officer went up there, and that the shooter turned and aimed the rifle at him, causing him to back down. And so that's a claim, and in that case, that would be cowardice, where the local police officer decided, "I'm not going to engage." But in the case of the sniper, that's not a case of cowardice. I mean, let's be real here. It's a fact that it was a singular counter sniper who took him out. One person. And that one person alone was in the clear. They were safe, right? They had the shot. They didn't take it. I'm not going to chalk this up to incompetence. You want to know why? Because in that moment, when you see that someone's going to, it has a gun pointed at them, you have the opportunity to stop them. That's your job. I'm going to call that either deliberate on the part of that sniper, or he got orders, which actually to me is very believable, because very often they do receive live real-time orders.
Real quick though, a point of I don't even know what the word is. If your job is to defend somebody and you're too afraid to do it, I feel like that would fall under the banner of like you're incompetent in your job.
dereliction or cowardice
Do you
before
see
the
what
enemy.
do you see what I'm saying? Like that means you're incompetent. Not
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah, those are two options, I believe, is dereliction of duty or
Right.
cowardice before the enemy.
I guess the point I'm trying to
I
make with
think.
all this is that cowardice I don't think factors into this at all. I think that it has less of it's like, well, I mean, it seems blatantly obvious to me and to most people that this entire thing was set up.
Yes.
So the question then, so I'm not going to say, oh, they couldn't do their job because they were afraid. No. They couldn't do their job because they were either told not to do their job, or somebody said, hey, you want your family to be alive tomorrow? Don't do anything for 3 minutes. I'm sorry. I have to address this real quick because it's important. Mr. Self-Destruct is saying that YouTube is taking comments down. This is the second, and by the way, I have not noticed these comments before he reposts them. So he says, second try. The vids of dozens plus people pointing out the guy crawling prone on the rooftop were eye-opening. He says,
They said nothing. Please don't come to my house and kill the government.
Wow, third time YouTube AI hit my comment. They usually put guys on every building. Very suspicious. So we're getting these YouTube AIs removing comments deemed sensitive content on this subject. We are not hiding ignoring any of your comments, chat. That's very true, chat. I am not. I will read it, and I will actually read it the way you intended it to be said. If you post it in the chat, because I really don't give a fuck about my life compared to the federal government. I don't care at all. Kevin Everson says, why is a company infringing on my civil rights? If they cannot follow the laws of the U.S., YouTube can get off the U.S. internet. None shall infringe. Well, you see, Kevin, this is the game plan. Yes, our laws, our United States laws, theoretically, according to our law, allow us the ability to say and do certain things that other countries and other people do not have. But this is the way that globalist pigs get across all of that. They put it into terms of service. You're going to start seeing this more and more. You want to have an iPhone, you want to have any kind of technology that makes your life like everybody else's today, that everybody else seems to be able to get access to. If you do not follow the terms of service, which will increasingly get more and more as time goes along, you will not be allowed to participate in the rest of society. This is how globalist pigs work. But let's see here. Mr. Squid says, never attribute malice to something that can be sufficiently attributed to incompetence. Mr. Squid, I've heard that phrase a lot of times, and I agree philosophically. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but I have come to the realization in my life that the people in charge of the world are vastly more intelligent than you or I. And so malice is not an option when it comes to that. Incompetence is not an option when it comes to that. That's how I feel. How do you guys feel about that?
I actually think the complete opposite of that statement. The Squid, all due respect, thank you for being in the chat. Love you guys. That saying sounds wise. Sometimes there are sayings that seem correct just inherently, but experience will actually tell you otherwise, especially the older you get, as the decades go on. Never attribute malice. Okay, so it's malice versus incompetence. I find that more often than not, incompetence is used as the excuse to cover up malice.
Precisely.
Inherent malicious nature to people. Because once again, we're adults and we know that people are inherently a little bit vicious at times. So, and self-serving, and in some cases that's fine, but in other cases, it's not. So I don't think that's a clear-cut statement. I don't think that's always true.
Anybody else on that? Not to pile on the Squid here.
I haven't said anything in a little bit.
Dr. Ben, what do you think?
It's a good picture. Or drawing, rather.
Wait, what do I think about what now? What did the script say?
Oh my God, Dr. Ben.
He never attribute malice to something that can be sufficient.
It's on the screen.
Well, you know, I can't look at the thing and look up at the screen, so I had to turn.
Okay, yeah, we can forgive him. Yeah, he's drawing.
Yeah, what?
Yeah, no, the comment
Yeah,
about
down there.
malice versus incompetence.
It's like this.
You're asking if I think that like the thing that just happened, it was malice or incompetence?
No, we're asking more if you agree with that wisdom.
Oh,
I'm not trying to be mean to the squid. I really am not, to be brutally honest. Go ahead.
The key word in that statement is sufficiently. Yeah, I mean the thing is that it's not like one something though. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like so many somethings all in a row. You know what I mean?
In regards to Trump, you're saying.
Right.
I see.
So I mean, you know, I mean, plus, I mean, that's what like all the you know, the thinkers were saying. You know, Tucker Carlson and you know, with that well, was that preacher guy? Is he like a big guy? I don't think I think he's just a little guy, I think. But you know, people were like, that's the next logical step. So I mean, it's hard to think that it's not malice and like some sort of. It's impossible to think it's not, basically. So it's just too many coincidences, too many. You know, like he has to do this and then this and then this and then this just to like get to the. Then he like gets up on top building and you know what I'm saying? Like there's so many coincidences and like once in a lifetime like rolls of the dice along that line, right? Like if you're a gamer, you know what I'm saying? Like you gotta sneak peer, do this to get all the way to this point.
Basically, he was playing Metal Gear Solid on easy mode. The shooter basically played MGS in real life on easy mode. He put a ladder on the building, climbed up, equipped his sniper rifle, and took the shot. Life should not be that easy.
Carbon, I literally said that to my parents.
Around.
They showed me the top-down picture of the event, and I literally said to them, I was like, look, if I was playing Metal Gear Solid 5, I would jump onto that building right there and use my sniper rifle to shoot him. And I was like, so the fact that there wasn't anybody up there is the stupidest shit I've ever heard in my life.
Look, if a video game is harder than this assassination attempt, then it's suspicious. Okay.
Also,
if the guy failed
let's
his
all laugh about
marksmanship
this,
training.
folks. We can laugh about this. He's not dead. He didn't die. He survived, and actually got a big boost to his campaign. So if you like him, this is like we can laugh about this. We don't have to be like, oh my God, he almost got many. First of all, people get fucking shot every fucking day. Not special people like Donald Trump, but people. Human people like you and me every day get fucking shot and die in ignominy. They die with no one knowing who they are. So we can laugh about a guy almost barely even really getting shot. But Squid, I would like to say in regards to this, never attribute malice to something that can be sufficiently attributed to incompetence. I was dissuaded of this belief the day that I saw what most people would describe as a UFO. It was on that day that I realized that all of the incompetence that our government organizations suggest in regards to that subject is complete and utter bullshit. It's complete and utter fucking nonsense. If me, at the time, 26-year-old person, has enough information about this object and sees it and knows what it's going to do and yada, 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 then the fucking government that uses our taxpayer dollars to do all these things has the ability to know what these things are. So it was at that moment that at any point I completely stopped trusting authority. Authority, until it has proven itself to me, which I'm going to say something harsh, but Trump still needs to prove that to me for me to be completely on his side. Am I in favor of him? Do I like him better than Joe Biden? Sure. But there's something I need to see first. A few things I need to see first before I really fully trust him. We'll get into that. Chat, if you want your comment to go through, just avoid some trigger words, please. Kevin Everson says, our internet, we can kick them. The squid says the government isn't allowed to violate our rights, so they outsource that to private companies that they hire government agents to censor us. He's actually 100% correct about this. This is the idea of special access programs too, where you hire you essentially hire either mercenary groups or people who are not government agents, so that one, it doesn't have to be filed under freedom of information stuff, and two, those people have any and all authority that you give them, that the government gives them, which actually oftentimes supersedes the things that they can actually, that the government could affect by law. So that's very important. That's very, very important. The death of our country will be to private organizations being essentially handed the reins of it. He says the event over the weekend is both incompetence and malice. I agree with you there. I think it's both of those things. Keyword in the statement is efficient. We already read that. Other countries have kicked platforms. We can too. Mr. Self-Destruct responds by saying, in a lot of ways, we don't have a country as much as we are citizens of a corporation, Kevin. Yes, I think so as well. I'm not saying there isn't some kind of conspiracy that happened, but all it really takes is a couple of people in charge deciding to look the other way for this to happen. 100%. You're actually right. That's why I lean more towards, in this regard, that this conspiracy was a conspiracy of incompetence. That the most incompetent... Like, look at it this way. If you really, I mean, every part of this was fucking incompetent. You got some guy who is some 20-year-old kid with, I know I don't have, like, the strongest arms in the world, but he's got, like, needle arms, and he's obviously not very well trained in firearms. You've got him trying to take out the president. So either the people who got that guy to do it are fucking incompetent as well, or they're fucking stupid, which is, I mean, that's the same thing. The whole thing was incompetence. The SS was incompetent. The assassin was incompetent. I'm not saying Trump should have been assassinated. I'm saying if people really wanted that to happen, they would have gotten somebody like who could actually do that kind of a thing. But they got some 20-year-old kid, which to me indicates that it's the CIA, because that's what they do.
Well,
they grab young, impressionable youth and they try to mold them into what they want, and then they send them out. Now, if this was a fucking hit job from the mafia, Trump would be dead.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
I'm glad you brought up. Let's focus on the shooter. Yeah, you're right, because if you were a professional or somebody who has experience with a sniper rifle or a rifle in general, or a contract killer, let's say, clearly Trump would have been finished.
Yeah.
It's not a well. Okay, let's back up. Mr. Self-Destruct is saying he was in a BlackRock commercial. Turns out that that's true. It's not just a rumor. That ad, I've pulled it up. It's spread on Twitter. An advertisement from BlackRock from about less than a year ago. He appears in the ad as a high school student, the actual shooter. And it's verifiable because his face is very clear in the video. As you know, we already have his mugshot. It's verified. He's in the ad. So now that we know that for sure, could you possibly think that it's a coincidence that this shooter is in a BlackRock commercial from less than a year ago? You know what BlackRock is, right?
I do. Yeah, Nick, do you know what BlackRock is?
A venture capital firm.
Yeah, well, the specifics of their globalist regimes. They're not their regimes, but their globalist plans.
Or venture capital firm.
Okay, so yeah. Okay. I'll let you take this question then. I don't want to interrupt people all the time.
Well, Nicholas, what else do you know about BlackRock?
Nothing. Nothing at all. I have no idea about them. I only know that. I have opinions on, globalism, and I mean, obviously, if a multinational endeavor, they're globalists. That's what they want. But beyond that, I don't know. I'm not saying I'm not totally interested, but I'd like to hear about it.
Have you heard of ESG?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Right on. Yeah. So it's the whole DEI stuff.
Yes.
Like, yeah, I saw that eventually.
All right, let's
A couple
skip
of
to
years
the
ago
end.
for the first time. Like the
BlackRock.
implications of it.
BlackRock, just to give you a summary for anyone who might not know, yes, they are a venture capital firm. You're correct. They have been specifically funding corporations on endeavors specific towards, yes, DEI, diversity, but not only that, every endeavor that is involved in pushing liberal narratives and incentives. So a popular one is Disney. Us, this group in particular, CG, we're very familiar with the comic industry. Marvel being owned by Disney, and Disney productions, TV shows, having gone woke over the last few years. Turns out BlackRock has funded companies within Hollywood and other corporations to do this specifically. They incentivize them. ESG stands for environmental, social, governance. Everything that is pretty much a liberal standpoint is promoted by BlackRock, and they are paid by BlackRock to do that. If they don't do that, they lose money that they would otherwise have gotten from BlackRock. So simply put, BlackRock is a woke pushing machine, not only for the West, but the entire world. And this has been known for a few years now. The fact that the shooter who attempted to kill Donald Trump was in a commercial that literally says BlackRock in it. Look, you couldn't make up a coincidence this big.
Yeah, but the commercial. Okay, so the implication of that, as far as I understand it, would be that BlackRock specifically funds a school, which is why that video was made, as far as I'm aware. Correct me where I'm wrong. That they specifically use that school as a breeding ground for domestic terrorism.
Well, that's a way of putting the theory. Obviously, there are ways of looking at it that might sound far fetched, but
that's the logical conclusion of it. To me, hey, what if that's the actual truth?
Well, you're absolutely right that is the ultimate conclusion of it, because you start from point A, which is okay. BlackRock plus the shooter equals the shooter attempting to assassinate. So what do these things have in common? They're woke and they want to eliminate the threat towards Biden in the next election. You can't make this stuff up.
Well, it's worse than woke. I mean, BlackRock is a globalist organization. Like they're very much in the interest of one world government.
Yeah.
So I'm going to read the squid here. He says BlackRock and Vanguard own so much of the country's stocks. BlackRock has also been getting government subsidies to buy up residential properties so people have to rent instead of buy. All of this falls into people's, I guess, don't really understand what globalism really amounts to. It sounds really nice. It sounds like universalism. But what it really amounts to is that one group of people who aren't from your country are going to rule over you and your country for forever. And every item, it's like, you hear all these fucking faggy commies talking about how horrible capitalism is. This is the end result of your extremist capitalism, BlackRock and Vanguard. This is what it will come to, that certain companies own your entire country and make laws based off of what they feel like and what they want. This is what we call fascism, ladies and gentlemen, another form of socialism, just as bad as communism, just as bad. But like, it is the most blatant version of fascism I've ever seen, and it's global fascism. This isn't Nazism. Nazism is National Socialism. That's different. This is where the entire government of every world is in league with the corporations, and the corporations, due to money, decide how you get to live your fucking life. They decide whether or not you get to own land. They decide whether or not you get to own your own food, your own clothing items. I mean, I'm sure you guys have seen this shit where, you wear these clothes and then you send it back in the mail. Like, what is this? Like, do we not own anything anymore? And that is, yes, that is in fact the goal. If you look at the WEF and you look at what they're interested in, these Satanist pigs, this is what they're interested in. Nobody getting to own anything or have any rights whatsoever. And they're going to get all of your rights by terms of service. If you want to engage in the system, you gotta pony up. You gotta give something to us.
I'll be right back, gentlemen. I gotta let my dogs out.
Sounds good, man.
Well, to an extent, what you described in terms of corporations having that much influence and ultimately control. I mean, we're already living in a state like that in the U.S. And there's only a few things that could potentially give us some level of autonomy. And we've talked about this before. We have to believe that it's possible for our vote to matter. If we get to the point where everyone has lost faith in the potential of a vote meaning anything, then, I mean, we might as well just go off the grid at that point.
Yeah. Kevin Everson says, well, I've got a problem with that thought process. I think he was referring to my thought process, not yours. Kevin, can you specify what the issue is? I mean, obviously, you're welcome to disagree with me. That's what we call freedom of speech. I'm gonna fucking always be that catty about that.
Well, Nicholas mentioned the Uvalde shooting. Sorry about the background noise, by the way. I don't even know what that was.
It sounded like an electric motorcycle to me.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. So, he mentioned the Uvalde shooting that happened in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Huge blunder, huge national tragedy. But, focusing on the shooter, right? And, look, if you take the time to look into the details in the life of that specific shooter, things are suspicious once again, Young college, I think he was either high school or college age, around 18 to 20, right? Didn't have the money to secure that level of weaponry that he suddenly got, right?
Yeah. How does, bro? Come on. That was the most bullshit thing about all that to me. You're saying some 20-year-old got his hands on that? Bullshit.
And then furthermore, and I'm not going to say the specific word, because this, even though I'm being very open so far on this show, I know there are things we can't say, but he was of a particular orientation, a particular lifestyle choice that he made.
And what do you mean? Are you afraid that I'm going to be upset with you saying that, or?
No, I mean, this is something. This is one of the things that as soon as you bring up and criticize, it gets like a video taken down, it gets a stream taken down.
He was a Zoroastrian. Fucking typical.
Basically a switcher. Somebody who decides to switch what they are. Just like the other one at the Christian school.
Wait.
Tennessee.
Wait. Confirm it to me in the private chat, but are you saying that he was somebody who identified as one thing and then identified as another thing later?
Correct.
Terribly fascinating.
Yeah, that was the Uvalde shooter as well as the shooter in Tennessee.
I knew about the Uvalde shooter, yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, that's why, yeah. Oh, terribly fascinating. Huh. I hadn't heard any of that. He looked like a regular Antifa punk to me. You know what I mean? And I saw the regular stuff about it, but wow. Okay. All right. Interesting. He's gonna have a hard time with that though, because I mean, did you see that jawline? Jeez.
Oh no, I'm not saying that. No, the Trump shooter was not of that identifying nature. I don't know that about him. I was talking about the Uvalde shooter.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the Trump shooter too.
Yeah, no. The Trump shooter, nothing has been said about that.
Oh, yeah, the Uvalde teacher was a girl who was pretending to be a boy.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say that, dude. You don't have to say anything you don't want to, but I am not gonna silence myself on that. If I silence myself on that, I might as well just stop speaking any truth whatsoever. So Kevin said, I got a problem with that thought process. The terms of service. How about your ability to operate globalist organizations? The problem, Kevin, that we have here is that our government is completely bought and owned by those people. And so this is the swamp. This is the, that Trump talks about. Whether or not, like I said before, look, okay, let me just get it out on the table here. I'm never going to fully trust Trump until I see two things. I want to see two things from him. I want to see the fucking Epstein client list released immediately, and I want to see people fucking nailed for what they've done. I want to see it. All of them. All the powerful people. I want to see them fucking nailed to the wall.
Yeah,
That's what I want to see.
Pat,
Unless
that's
I
all
see
good.
that, I don't trust him. Two, I want to see the war in Ukraine and the war in Israel ended instantly. That's
Yeah, but
those are my. That's
okay.
all. I need
Pat,
to see those things.
He can only potentially do that if he becomes president, though. So
Well, I
in a
understand.
sense,
No, I agree. That's what I'm saying. Like
we have to vote him in first.
When he becomes president. Well, at this point, Carbon,
But
I mean, at this
I'm saying
point, it's a foregone conclusion unless the Dems cheat again, which they cheated the
No.
first time. I'll say that on public record.
I'm going to be completely realistic here. We don't know what's going to happen in November. At this point, it is. I mean, look at what just happened.
Dude, unless they literally finish the job, he's getting elected.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying.
On Saturday, let's think this through now. Actually, let's switch gears. What if he was eliminated? You have a lot of people saying, okay, civil war would have happened. That's a little bit of an empty statement. What does that look like? You know what I'm saying? Because none of us really knows what that would look like. But
we got Vito here. He says, let's stuff some ballots.
Let's be specific here. Trump gone suddenly, right? He's no longer running. Who would be running against Biden at that point?
Well, it would be a globalist pig they put in, which actually brings up the second topic I wanted to bring up, folks, the one that's going to make all the people who love Trump hate me.
Why are you running, Patrick? Why are you running away from my question?
I'm sorry. Repeat your question. I'm sorry.
Think about it. If Trump had been eliminated, who do you think would have ended up being the candidate running against Biden?
I would put my money on Marco Rubio.
Okay. Let's just say hypothetically that's true, right? Do you think Rubio would win the election? No. Okay, so there you go. The assassination would have succeeded in its goal, right? Which is to ensure that a Democrat gets voted in.
Carbon. If Marco Rubio won the presidency, do you think he would be any less of a globalist pig than Joe Biden?
You're moving on to a different point.
No, slightly, yes, but I'm trying to also answer your question while also bringing up a different topic, a different view of the topic.
Well, actually, all right, I'll answer your question. I still think he'd be better than Biden.
Okay.
I think any Republican would be better than Biden.
Okay. But see, this is the way that the enemy operates. The enemy offers you choices, and he makes you feel like you must take one of those two choices, but they're both shitty choices. I mean, okay, so let me put it like this, Carbon. Do you feel like before Trump entered the political arena, do you feel like the left and the right offered legitimate candidates that were like actually different in what they were going to do and what it was going to happen in the government?
Yes.
Okay. Well, we just disagree on that point then. I feel like both the left and the right are warmongers and they're degenerates. And that's why when I said I wanted to see the Epstein list from Trump, that's how I would know that Trump isn't one of them. I want to see all the degenerates nailed to the wall.
I'm not disagreeing that there's a level of corruption on both sides. I'm not disagreeing with that. But I'll put it to you in this sense. Obama was elected in 2008, right? And he ran against McCain originally, right? If McCain had won, Do you think 2008 to 2012 would have been different for the country?
Not even slightly. No.
Nonsense. That's
Nope.
complete happy.
McCain was a globalist pig, dude. He was a piece of fucking filth. I
Yeah, but
don't care if the man's dead.
Obama pushed socialist agendas.
McCain would
McCain
have done the exact same thing, except he would have done it under a Republican guise. I literally exactly feel that way.
Well, obviously we won't know for sure.
Sure.
I think he would have been less socialist than Obama. I think it's a reasonable assumption. And Obama was the one who passed gay marriage and pushed transgenderism.
Dude, gay marriage was going to happen. It was going to happen either way. You have to come on. That was even before Obama ran for office. That was like a thing that was being brought up in the political sphere. I was a very political young man. Like when I was in high school and stuff, I really believed in the left and the right. And this was all happening back then. And the right was saying, well, maybe we should get on this topic because it's the new hot hip thing. You know what I mean?
Sure.
We should jump on this train. They were going to do it just as well as the left. It just maybe 4 years later.
Maybe
a little bit later.
But my point is, there would have been a difference with who won that election. That's my ultimate point. Right? Those 4 years, that term, things would have been most likely different.
But
there's not a person, candidate, politician, or anybody that's going to get elected and we're going to be happy with. Because if they're a good person, I guarantee you they have no idea what the fuck they're doing. And if they do know what they're doing, they're definitely a bad person if they get up to a high enough level. You have to be. Like, I really honestly think like stuff like House of Cards, for instance, is a lot of it's more true than we probably would like to realize. Not saying I believe in like the Clinton hit list or anything like that. But that exists. I mean, hey, what if just a couple things are true on it? Who knows? But I do generally agree. I can't say what Republicans are like. I don't know. I've never been around them, really. I come from I grew up in a very democratic area. Stuff like that. I did work with them for a little bit. I mean, I definitely, I got warned what not to talk about in front of other people because technically it was illegal, and stuff like that. Seeing how elections take place, like how the jockeying for it. Someone dies, all the next second and it's right before an election. There's a bunch of cat fighting and everything to jockey for that seat. Because long as you get nominated to that, everyone's going to vote for the dead guy anyway, because they've been voting for him for 30 years. And there hasn't been a point in time where politicians or leaders in general were nice people.
Right.
Okay, well, there's truth in what you're saying, Nicholas. Okay, but I feel now we're starting.
Now there is a difference. I agree with you, Carbon, as well. I mean, there's a difference in how all that's going to play out. Depending on who is actually in charge.
We're starting to slip into the territory of coping with the idea that it doesn't matter who wins. That's nonsense. It's bullshit. It doesn't matter who wins. It does matter who wins. Look at the state of Virginia. Okay, in the last 10 years, you had the state of Virginia. You had Youngkin win because the parents in Virginia saw that, and this is a fact, a child in elementary school was raped. A girl was raped by a boy pretending to be a girl who was allowed to go into the bathroom because of transgender ideology. That it took that happening for people in Virginia to vote Youngkin in, a governor who would put an end to that. Okay, so it does matter who gets voted in on some things. I'm not saying that they're Jesus. I'm not saying that it'll be a miracle that one person comes in and they're going to save the world, but it makes a difference.
I mean, I think you're touching on what's actually important.
I'll be right back, you guys. I got to take a piss. Continue. I'm sorry.
I think you're touching on exactly why the heart of it, which is the only thing that really matters to anybody is what actually affects you. If it doesn't affect you, It doesn't actually affect you. And the people that really it does matter are your local people, obviously. I mean, that's been a cliche for a long time to say that, but it's true. That's why it's a cliche. Um, and frankly, I will say this. I don't think it's right to say only vote for a Republican no matter where you are in the country, or only vote for Democrats no matter where you are in the country. It depends on your local area, because there's some places that have good Democrats and some places that have bad Democrats, and vice versa. But that's the only thing that we can actually really ever do anything about, in my opinion. Because no, I don't think we have any chance of really having much of a say-so in the actual people that wield power in the world, so to speak. Because if there was ever a point in time that we would start getting it, they probably would do what they did to Trump on Saturday.
Yeah, to a degree. Now that let me simmer back down. Let me lower the temperature a little bit. I mean, I'm also realistic. I know that there's only so much we can do, but like I said, I believe in trying the most that we can, and you know, at least voting and speaking your mind and trying to share what you truly believe in, so that you know you wake some people up to the realities here. And like you said, the things that are going to affect you the most, that you're actually going to feel the impact of, and that's the economy, that's your children, that's you know laws that are going to impact schools, but you know we're at that point now, and I take each election as I try to forget about the past. I look at it this way: this coming election, what's on the playing field? You know what I mean? It's going to be X versus Y. If X wins, you're going to get A, B, and C. If Y wins, you're going to get D, E, and F, right? And which ones do I want more? Neither is going to be perfect, but which one is going to be best for me? And I speak my mind so that other people realize that it's going to be better for the country as well.
Now, okay, just what could we do? I mean, seriously, ultimately, without getting kicked off of YouTube.
What could we do to do what? I'm sorry, I missed that first part.
No, just making a joke, because you can't actually talk about our options as a society, stuff that we're actually guaranteed of in the Constitution. Actually, we can't. We'd probably individually get a visit from the FBI if we actually seriously discuss stuff, kind of stuff.
I see what you're saying.
Are you a Fed? Are you a Fed, Nicholas McHugh?
No.
Is this a honeypot in which you're trying to catch us saying something?
No. No, I mean, I agree with you, because I do think, I mean, there's obviously always stuff that you can do, right? As that's guaranteed in our Constitution. But no one what happened.
That was a joke.
No,
don't worry. Don't worry, Nicholas.
Nicholas, I actually, as long as you're not honeypotting us and being 100% honest, I actually feel very similar to you.
I know what my family history is. It's not what it seems.
It's okay. You guys can come you can honeypot me. That's okay. You're gonna find nothing but fucking comic books and hero clicks at my apartment. But yeah, you're right. There are things that we are not allowed to talk about that are, in my estimation, legitimate things that should be considered. But I also am what I would consider an extremist. Like I'm not like most Republicans. I don't play around with because to me, like I've already seen certain things that have shown me, like I was telling you guys about that UFO, like I've already seen things in my life that have told me and shown me that the people in power are all liars and they're all not to be trusted. And so I want them to be removed from power. And so Carbon says we need to vote them out of power. I pray and hope that that is a legitimate option that we can engage in. Do I personally feel that way? No, I really don't.
Well,
And that's why I want to see, like I said, I want to see Trump release that Epstein list. If Trump releases the Epstein list, he will have revitalized my faith in humanity to a degree that no other human person has ever done ever. And I think I might actually become a normal human again.
Nicholas, that was a good question, though. Honestly, what can we do? And that's something that we should focus on, because obviously, we have to believe that our vote matters, and we have our voices, right? And at the end of the day, that's really all that you actually do have. You have your voice, you have your vote, and we can communicate what we believe. We need to share what we think without fear. But then also we have our money. We have the choice to put our resources into certain things. Look at California. Yesterday, California passed the law that the state can remove a child from parents if they don't affirm their newfound gender identity. Okay, and so as a result, Elon Musk tweeted that he's going to remove all his companies from California. So he's divesting from California. There are a lot of people who did the same thing. You've heard of all these celebrities who said, I can't live in California anymore. Well, essentially, you're divesting in that state. You're saying, I'm not going to pay you my taxes. I'm not going to live there. I'm not going to support you. I'm moving someplace where I agree. And the more people who do that, it's going to make a difference. I truly believe that. It might sound corny, it might sound cheesy, but move to a state where you have faith in Nicholas. Hello? He left. You're muted, Patrick.
It's too much for him.
Finish your point, Carbon. Sorry, keep talking.
Yeah. And I say this to everybody dealing with the laws that are being passed these days. You have a problem with the state you're living in, the city you're living in. Well, it's time to take action and leave. Move to a state where you have faith in the people around you, that they're like-minded, and that you can vote in local politicians who you believe in. Like, I believe in the state of Florida, for example.
That wasn't a coincidence.
Is that a hint, Carbon? Real quick, Carbon, you're like, goddamn, you're always so optimistic. Like, I wish I was more like you. You're so optimistic. You're so, like, you're like the best of us. You know what I mean? I'm so fucking negative, and you're the optimistic side of things. And I appreciate that. So thank you.
I try to be, although I can get real dark sometimes. You know that. But look, I'm a Christian. That's something I haven't mentioned so far today. And I truly believe that if you are a Christian, that you should be optimistic. By default, you are optimistic. I mean, otherwise, what's the point of Christianity?
Can I ask you a question?
That's
real quick,
a good
Carbon?
point of why we have a different opinion on that.
I want to ask you both questions now. Carbon, real quick, yes or no? Do you think that it's possible for a world that is influenced by Christianity to get to a point where we no longer need government to prevent people from doing harm to one another?
You mentioned this once before, and I believe that is a fantasy.
Okay, Nicholas. Wait, but I just wanted to.
Okay.
Nicholas, what were you going to respond to him saying?
I was gonna say, like, I've been into like Buddhism for a long time, so I'm a little bit more pessimistic about that kind of stuff.
Okay,
Patrick, kick Nicholas. Kick Nicholas.
You pagan son of a bitch!
Well, it doesn't. Buddhism isn't about gods or anything like that.
Oh no, I know. That's why it's nonsense.
Hey.
I'm just fucking with you, man. Well, I mean, let's be honest, Nicholas. I do think that it's nonsense.
Oh, yeah,
but I don't.
That's
I'm not
implication
trying
of
to-
believing on a monotheistic religion.
Right,
Yeah,
right,
Nicholas.
exactly.
Now that we're delving into this, we might
I'm
as well
not
jump
trying to
right
shit
in.
on you, Nicholas. I'm sorry.
We might as well put our feet to the fire. You said that you dabbled in Buddhism, but what do you believe now? What do you
Or
actually
studied it. I've been into it.
What do you believe?
What do I believe?
You can say whatever you want. Don't feel uncomfortable. We're not gonna attack you.
I don't think the question of like higher intelligence is necessarily an important question to
Why
us.
Why is that?
What is okay? What difference does it make?
But that's a great point. But I'm asking you on a general sense, what is your faith? Are you atheist? Are you Buddhist? Are you whatever?
Agnostic, yada yada. Zoroastrian.
But no, I sort of align with. Well, okay, so I went to Catholic school as a little kid. Got into Buddhism in my early 20s, and I'm in my mid 40s now. So I like Buddha. Like it's helped me. Like I especially started after I first started like learning about it. Like several years later, life throws shit at you. And you got to deal with it. And really started learning about it, looking for something to help make me feel better about it, learn how to deal with it, like grief and stuff like that. So that's why I know about it, I guess you could say, is searching for the answers, to things out there. And what I found in it is that you have to accept a lot doesn't have an answer, that's just life, bad things happen, there's I never learned about karma or anything like that, but I guess I do sort of believe in that idea of karma. And I've never read a book that really teaches you about karma or anything like that. But
where are you at today?
What do you mean?
Where are you at today in terms of what you believe, in terms of a religion or of a higher power? Are you atheist? Are you monotheistic, polytheistic, agnostic?
Apatheist.
Okay.
I don't care.
That's atheist then.
Well, I wouldn't go so far as to say atheist, Carbon.
I can't think of a logical.
How dare you?
Wait.
I can't think of a logical statement that disproves God, for instance.
That's a fair. See, now we have a reasonable person on our hands, Carbon. You see, that's why you don't want to label him as atheist right away.
All right, so that's agnostic then.
Yeah, essentially.
I'm just trying to get to.
I've also never heard a logical argument to prove that God exists.
Okay,
well,
fair enough.
There is no proof.
Fair, but you can't prove it or you can't disprove it. We're not here. We're not here to convert you either way.
And to me, like I do think, like I understand it, and I know a little. I mean, just from internet research kind of
Mr.
stuff.
Mr. Perfect says, like Buddhism is just stoner Christianity, dude.
Fuck you. Jesus stole Buddhism.
Nicholas.
Don't get me started on that, Nicholas.
I'm half kidding because obviously, with the whole messing around. I was trying to get to a sense of where you are today, like, a description of what you believe in. Agnostic. But, I mean, a lot of people, on a serious note, they do describe themselves as an agnostic because, like you said, there is no proof.
Oh, wait. Nicholas, are you one of those fucking shitty pieces of shit who says that he's spiritual but not religious?
No.
Okay, thank God. All right. Continue, Carmen.
Yeah, no, and I'm not trying to.
Thought about it. I mean,
and I'm being completely honest here. Agnostic, it's a reasonable answer. I know people in my personal life, friends of mine, who they deliberately say that they're agnostic because they feel like, they haven't delved into it that deeply. A lot of people haven't. And I'm not saying that you haven't, Nicholas. I'm just saying in general. And, as a result, it's like I have this uncertainty about it. So I'm going to say that, I believe that it's possible, but I'm not going to say with any level of this kind of assuredness. And, I think that we find a lot more people on that scale these days. But one response I do want to say, though, is that when it comes to trying to find proof that's kind of the irony of religion, is that we're never going to find the proof. We're never going to find the proof that God exists, and we're never going to find proof that there's an afterlife.
Can I pause you right there, Carbon? First of all, no. Yes, you can find the proof. It's written throughout everybody's theological books. Secondly, I'm going to let you respond to that, but let me read these chats here first, real quick. I've just been leaving the chat out. Right after Mr. Self-Destruct said, if you guys in chat are saying stuff that isn't getting pulled up, hit refresh to see if it got hidden by YouTube AI. He's referencing the Trump assassination. So please, if you have said something, phrase it in a certain way that I can read it, and I will 100% read it. Which one is going to let me keep my genitals, Carbon? I don't know what he was referencing to that, but I think he's talking about religions, and it's not Judaism.
No, that was about which president is going to win.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, cool. Sorry, I made a bad joke about Judaism. Well, considering the FBI is a secret police force, unconstitutional, says Kevin Everson. Kevin, it's like sometimes I feel like you haven't been living in America very long. Like, it's like, bro, our country's fucking taken over. I love you, Kevin, though. You backed my book too, so you're a goddamn legend. The Squid says, what can we do? Hold peaceful protests and rallies and take your local elections seriously. State elections are important and most people don't take them seriously. Mr. Self-Destruct says, our money isn't real. Our voices can be... I love the real, dude. Love it. Our voices can be hidden. All we have in life is our heritage and our balls. Hold on firm to both. When you say heritage, do you mean like your... Specify what you mean, Mr. Self-Destruct, because it sounds like you're... Anyway, the Squid says, speaking of local elections, Valentina Gomez for SOS of Mo. Dude, Valentina Gomez is a babe. That doesn't mean she's going to be a good politician, but she's a babe. Katie Did says, amen, Carbon. I just want to say it's important to vote in your local elections because that's where you can stop a potential government thug. Carbon, you and I have had our disagreements on whether or not voting matters at all. But I would say that local elections are the ones that matter more than the federal elections. That at local elections, those people are actually people who will answer to you. That they kind of have to answer to you because, like, you know, they live near you and you kind of know where they live. And I think that's very important.
It is, but I would say it varies depending on some federal laws. Like even some executive orders that have happened have impacted the entire country, and we did feel them. So,
oh yeah,
both do still matter.
No. I'm not saying that the federal stuff doesn't matter because the federal government obviously is more powerful than the state governments today in this day and age. Although it should not be. The state government should be more powerful than the federal government, which I guess makes me in league with the Confederates during the Civil War, except for the whole slavery thing, you know. Which Catholics were on the forefront of. Go ahead.
So my only exposure to trying to be involved, like actually one of my first exposures ever to activism.
Mm-hmm.
You remember Anonymous?
Yes.
Like back in like 2010, 2011.
Yeah. You were a member of Anonymous? Because your whole name's out there now.
No, but I don't know how much you might remember of some of the early internet stuff, but even like people like Ethan Ralph sort of got their start on like some of the older like video sharing conferencing sites and stuff like that, like back around that time, 2009, 2010. Because I remember Ethan Ralph even back from those kind of days, as far as if I remember correctly. Not like actual friends knowing him or anything, just remember seeing his name around. But there, one of the operations where somebody did go in and get information, and then you got to actually, I mean, this is, you know, years before AI and stuff like that, but you had to sit, there was like thousands and thousands of pages of stuff, and to sift through it. And so it was me and a group of like 10 people were, not all of us necessarily at the same time, but we're working with this one guy, our author named Barrett Brown, who had like like legit like jobs with like, you know, publications and stuff like that. But he's also a heroin addict, or at least he was then. So that's why he was working with Anonymous. But he did some stuff. But we got one thing. We got some. We got it. It was about persona management. It was like early like sock puppet accounts to kind of stuff. Like we actually even found further evidence on like a government website, like job listing website and everything. And the congressman that somebody else got to actually bring up the issue in Congress is also the same guy that wondered if Guam was going to tip over from all the military equipment.
Huh.
Yeah. Something tells me that guy just plays stupid sometimes.
Sometimes you can get what you're trying to do done if you just play dumb. I mean, hey, we got Joe Biden in the office.
No, but that one, it was Op HB Gary Federal. And there was a few other stuff. And that was like, and people were calling everybody who was like saying that was a conspiracy theory back then. You know, no real publication. Like Ars Technica covered it, and that's about it. As far as who covered that back in the day. But
Anonymous in general, is that what you're saying?
no, a lot of publications covered Anonymous, but like as far as that particular issue.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, because there's Anonymous wasn't like literally a group. Like it was definitely more loose than even Comicsgate would be. But I just happened to be a person reading stuff, and then also writing like letters to Congress people and stuff.
Gotcha. Let's see here. I think I might have already read this. Buddhism teaches a lot of things that Christ came to teach. Life is suffering, but it doesn't have to be. Gift of Gab. This is her first comment on a like live on a Comicsgate Commandos stream. Come on, Pat Show. He can insult your religion. That's very true. I can if I want to. I'm not going to. That's not true. If you're a Satanist or a pagan, I will very much insult your religion. And I will call your gods Nephilim demon sons of bitches.
Well, technically, you know, agnosticism is something that I wouldn't even insult because, like I said earlier, and I was being genuine, I know a lot of people who feel that way, and I do believe it to be reasonable to a degree, you know.
Well, Carbon, think about it. Like, think about how fucking awful and shitty the world is. Like, if you don't, because I feel like Carbon, I feel like Christians who really, really, really believe Christianity have certain information that other people don't have. And that could have been through life experience. It could have been through their, you know, the teachings that their parents or their teachers taught them when they were younger about the religions. But I feel like, you know, like you can't really blame people for not believing in God when the world is so fucking horrible as it is. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, that's a fair point. What I was about to say is that, you know, truth be told, religion is something that is taught to us, not to state the obvious, but what I mean is that it takes study in history as well as religious texts in order to reach a conclusion. And the reality is that a lot of people just haven't put the time into it.
Exactly.
And so you end up meeting a lot of people who, by default, kind of just have this all across the board, whether they're Catholic, whether they're Christian, even Jewish people or Muslim people. You know, a lot of people have this kind of vague, oh, well, I grew up this way. And then now it's like they don't even think about it. You know? So they don't even know what they believe because they're not consciously thinking about it, and they haven't put the time. It takes study to truly affirm your faith. I do believe that.
I 100% agree with you. Kevin Everson says, come on, Buddhist psychology asks, what could you do different? Or what did you do to help the events that happened? Bro, okay, first of all, Kevin.
Yeah, I said that.
That's true, but it's also a thing that Catholics do. Gift of the Gab, it's called faith. Yes, it is. Carbon
The
Heart.
functional parts of religion are pretty universal, it seems.
Gift of the Gab. Gift of the Gab. Thank you for saying that. By the way, when Gift of the Gab said that, that was in response to me saying that we don't have proof of God's existence, we don't have proof of the afterlife, and that's when she said it's called faith, because that is the leap of faith that we all need to take.
Well, okay. Here's the question then, and I pose this to everybody here, and I defy anybody to offer me a good explanation for this. What is proof?
I think if you can make a logical equation, so to speak, out of it, I think you can sort of disprove it, you know. And by that, I mean, if you understand science enough, even as a layperson, honestly, if you can't think of a logical statement against it or for it, you know, to prove its existence, then that's all you have.
So, wait a minute.
Would you believe anybody if they
wait a minute,
came and
Carmen.
told you they were God? I mean,
Nicholas,
no, you
Nicholas. So would you say that then proof is defined by your like the psychological interpretation of something?
No, you don't. You can only determine that via reason. I don't think, because okay, we can't even know two people on the planet can really agree without a lot of preparation, sort of like Carbon was saying about study, come to the same conclusion on what it is we're talking about that we're even having that faith in, or what, you know what I mean?
No. Carbon, go ahead. I have to be honest.
No, I mean, I got what Nicholas was saying there. But to add to that, and I think this will add to what you were saying, and maybe give context. Proof, you know, and drawing from a legal standpoint as well, because the law is essentially based on religion, and everyone forgets that. What, you disagree?
Yeah, I 100% disagree, but keep going.
The law is drawn from religions of the world. It simply is. In a simplistic way, but that's just a fact. But anyway, we're talking about proof in the legal system. Just to give an example, we're talking about something that can be perceived equally by everyone, right?
Okay.
Beyond the shadow of a doubt. So, therefore, statements, so this is what I mean. I'm adding to Nicholas. A logical statement is not enough. A word is not enough, right? It has to be something that can be perceived unanimously, universally, right? And it's beyond the shadow of a doubt, and so it would have to be perceivable by the senses, more than one sense, visually, auditorily, right? And it's concrete and it's not ephemeral. It would have to be something physical to a degree. I would say it would have to be physical.
Okay.
Okay. For instance, take space, like outer space, right? Humans have been, there's written accounts of humans theorizing about the existence of outer space.
Okay.
And sort of conceptualize it for thousands of years. They couldn't prove it, really, even beyond much of seeing. I mean, really, a little hard to even say they could see it, you know, even though you could, you know. And that did, frankly, involve a significant amount of faith, too, because our senses are limited, you know.
But that's a great example, because okay, let's talk about something that is relevant. What happened in the last 4 years? We had the coup, right? The epidemic. And in 2020, the first few months, people were saying, okay, if we don't take action, X, Y, and Z is going to happen. Trump reacted because he was told, if you don't lock down the country, at least 2 million people will die. And I remember this. If you recall, in March of 2020, he was left with no choice. He was told millions will die in a month if you do not lock down, right? And so it took a leap of faith in science in order to take that action. But science is obviously fallible because it could change, and like the COOF did, that's my point overall. Every 3 months, there was a new point about COOF and the epidemic. And it's because there was no actual proof. You think I'm making a pointless remark here? It's not pointless.
Not at all. Not at all.
There was no actual proof.
What I'm trying to get to is, people talk about how they need proof to believe a certain religion, this religion, that religion. But the word proof doesn't really mean anything at all. All it means is the thing that you're willing to believe when you hear it. Because when it comes down to it, all information that you could receive comes from another human being testifying to that information's truth. So, as an example, all scientific information, generally speaking, revolves around reproduction, the reproducibility of the experiment and the precision of the experiment. So if I do the same experiment you did, I will get the same results that you did, which then verifies the the hypothesis that you constructed about said information. So say you say, the pull of gravity is negative 9.8 meters per second. Okay. I have to confirm that myself by measuring and dropping an object and yada, yada, yada. You see what I'm saying? So I can reproduce the experiment you performed to determine that negative 9.8 meters per second is the pull of gravity. But at the same time, what essentially I'm doing is just reperforming for myself something that you did, which means that at a certain point, you can just begin to trust people's testimony about a subject, and that is proof. That is what we call scientific proof. All these experiments are reproducible, and they produce the same response as when the first person who constructed the experiment did that, and he said, this is what happens when you do this, and you say, okay, well, I'm going to do that myself, and then you do it, and it happens, and you go, okay, so this is real. So my question is that is essentially what proof is. Testimony from one human person to another that you trust.
Can I jump in there for a second?
Yeah,
because that description that you just gave is essentially what I was saying about legal proof, and that it's physical proof that is perceivable equally across all people, right?
Okay.
And you added an element there that's important. It's reproducible, right? Because in a scientific experiment, you could do it over and over again, and it's the same result. But what about an example that's like proof of nature, like something that exists physically in the world,
right?
In which you could tell people, hey, look, if you travel, right, and you go to this specific location, you're going to encounter whatever, X, Y, Z. You're going to see a tree that has all the colors of the rainbow. Let's say that, right?
Sure.
And then you travel, everybody can travel there and see the tree and go, okay, this is concrete evidence. And I'm not saying that you need that to have faith, but I'm saying that I believe that's what proof is in terms of a worldly, what is it, convincing thing.
So then what if I said to you, Nicholas, because Carbon already agrees with me, well, first of all, Nicholas, do you agree with Carbon's assessment there?
I do. You'd have to repeat it back for me at this point.
What were you laughing about? What were you laughing about, Nick?
I don't know if you saw what our handy little illustrator here held up for just a split second.
Oh, no, I didn't.
I didn't see it either.
He had a list of Satanists on it.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
My face turned beet red. I could see in the camera.
Are you there? You're muted, maybe?
I'm here.
Oh, there you are. Okay, you started talking and you didn't. It wasn't saying anything. Sorry.
Oh no, no, I don't. I didn't catch what Carbon said.
No, it was in response to what Patrick said. He asked you a question.
So essentially, it's like this, Nicholas. This is what I'm trying to get. This is the point I'm trying to get to. A lot of people, and correct me if I'm mistaken, but you earlier said, I don't have any proof God exists. I don't have any proof he doesn't exist. Well, yeah, you're never going to get proof he doesn't exist. Proof that he does exist exists, and it's all around you, and it's throughout every culture, throughout all of time, throughout all of the world existing. Now, the question is whether or not you want to perceive other people's testimony as proof. We take it in a court of law. Say somebody testifies against somebody or so for them. We take that in the court of law. In a court of law. Now, I want to be very clear. I don't look at the court of law as the end all be all for what things are real and what things are not real. I think it's an attempt to figure out what is and what isn't real, and it's set up in such a manner as to remove as many liars as possible, which is actually really important when it comes to a court of law. But what I mean is that when we talk about whether or not God or a God or many gods exist, it seems astounding to me that the vast majority of humanity, as it seems to me in modern age, doesn't automatically accept that as a given, that there are gods or a God who exists. I mean, there have been religions and belief systems from across the course of history that have believed such things and have testified to such things. And yet we, in our modern enlightened age, with our materialist empiricism, say, well, I don't have any physical evidence in front of me for it, so it's all bullshit. But it's like, well, what are you talking about? The entire order of science revolves around people giving testimony of experiments they conducted. You're not trusting the experiment necessarily.
No,
You're
science
trusting the
isn't.
testimony
Okay,
of
the
the person who
scientific
said that.
The state of science, at the very least, should be. I do believe this the way it actually is that when somebody has a novel innovation or whatever scientific discovery, it has to be reproducible before other people start doing it.
Sure.
Generally speaking, scientific discoveries are tied into money-making ventures. That's
Okay.
who's funding the shit in the first place. So there's incentive for everybody to actually know what's real and what's not in that, I think. There's not people, the whole idea that there's a bunch of people creating stuff merely because they're good people and just happen to be really smart. No, it's whoever's paying for it wants something to be created.
Yeah.
So everything, I think there's an incentive for things to be real there. On the other part of it, I think the testimony that you're saying is what? What testimony am I accepting? Am I accepting somebody's feelings that they had? Am I accepting visions that they had?
To be very specific, in the modern day, you accept the testimony of scientists who say, I did this and I got this. And you say, this is real. This is the term we apply to it. This is real. In the old days, you had maybe 10 people in your entire culture who could read and write. And those guys wrote down the important things that happened to your culture. And today, in the modern age, we look at those things and we say, what fanciful nonsense. What fantastic bullshit. They just made all this shit up. So my question is why do we not look upon the testimony of the ancient people as being as, if not more legitimate than modern testimony of science?
I mean, they didn't have video cameras. I mean, I don't necessarily know if we want to start believing what's carved into a stone wall over a video.
Well, I think maybe just to add on something to that, because I think I know where you're going with this, Patrick, is that a lot of what the general public believes to be true from a scientific standpoint is something that they've simply heard
right
has been proven and demonstrated.
Yeah,
they haven't
and
witnessed
they say this is real now.
Yeah, and they go, I believe in science,
Right.
Yet you don't know about black holes. You don't really know about the Milky Way. You don't know about the dark side of the moon, and even down to things in physics. There are physics experiments where it's like, okay, we did an experiment that demonstrates. I was just thinking of one where it's like, all matter is simply a waveform.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And it's like, okay, so we did the experiment. Now I have an equation, and you're taught that in school, and you go, oh, okay, so I guess this is reality.
Right.
And that's the majority of people's perception of the natural world.
But you know what you're not taught in school, Carbon, is the different religions of the world. So here, Nicholas, let me real quick.
Okay, well, hold on a second.
Go ahead.
Hold on.
Go ahead, please.
Okay. So to respond to Carbon, so I'm not sure what the actual specifics of it are, but Einstein had a theory, right? At some point, and he needed like a solar eclipse to prove it, right? And that took a little while, and it was a theory until the experiments took place, which experiments weren't even conducted by him, and I'm not even sure if it was how many different people it was. But that's scientists have theories, and then they get proven correct. We have GPS satellites. We can have instantaneous back and forth conversations across the world over live streams. That requires an understanding of annihilation. Because they send all of this stuff up to the satellites and everything like that. Again, I think science is rough, basic science that matters. Now, if you want to start talking about science that's being used to manipulate the population at a given time, that's one thing.
I agree with you on that, because you're right. Like, applied sciences is something that you experience every day.
Sure.
Like your car. You know that the physics in your car engine are irrefutable. Okay, like a combustible engine, that's science that we know works. I'm talking about like science in which the experiment is something a little more out there. Like I said, the nature of atoms, the nature of outer space, the universe, black holes, special relativity. These are things.
Those things are. I mean, the things that aren't provable are theories.
But everyone assumes them to be true, though.
But that's the thing. I don't agree with any of you on this, because there's no such thing as proof.
Because the math works out.
There is no such thing as proof. There is a man who said, it worked for me, and you can try this yourself. And it might work for you too, but it might not work for you. There is no such thing as proof. I really don't believe in proof. I gotta put my foot down.
Depends upon what your standard for proof is at that given time. There's millions of different kinds of.
No, hold on. Let's take a step back, because we don't want to get to the point where we go, okay.
That definition of proof that you guys provide,
relativism.
That this thing right here is 100% true at any given moment. Actually, like this physical thing, I can't believe that.
No, it's a great example.
Unless we also get onto real quick, I'll finish and then I'll shut up and then I'll let you talk. Unless we can also get onto the same token of the testimony provided by human beings across history counts as proof. If that doesn't count as proof, then fucking nothing counts as proof, because you have at least 4 to 5 different civilizations across the planet, not connected by continents. Well, maybe some of them were connected by continents, but the majority of them were not connected by continents, saying that, for instance, the flood happened. Is that not proof that the biblical flood occurred? If you ask modern society, if
I
you ask
think
modern
it does make
intelligentsia, they
there's-
will say that's not
It
proof.
does make it seem that there's definitely likely something that
But
would have happened there.
That's the thing.
Yes.
It's
I mean, that's
proof,
It's not
though.
proof.
That's a
It's
fair
not
answer.
proof.
Nicholas
It's not
actually,
proof?
It's an evidence.
Nicholas said something very reasonable right there. I'll give him credit for that.
Okay.
That's a very fair answer. Is that it demonstrates the possibility of it, but it is not irrefutable proof.
Wait a minute. Let me finish this then. So you're saying that we can have a bunch of scientific experts on a particular subject, say physics, say chemistry, say whatever, and they five to six of them do the exact same experiment that one guy did. He said, "Hey, if you do this experiment, you'll get this result." And they go, "Okay, cool." Well, then they do the same experiment and they get the same result. 5 or 6 of them, right? Are we to not believe the 5 or 6 of them because it's only 5 or 6 of them?
Yeah,
Because
but those people,
what we're talking about here is
scandals in science do
the
happen.
most intelligent and the most intelligent and capable of writing people in their entire cultures decided to write down certain information that they thought was true, and it was the same across 5 to 6 different cultures across the world. More than that, it's most of the cultures across the world. My point is that you have the experts in their field saying this is what happened, and the modern day you have the experts in their field saying this is what happened, and we don't believe the experts in the field of the ancient peoples. I don't understand why we don't believe them.
I see where you went there. That's a very good point.
I'm gonna shut up now. Sorry.
No. I see where you went there, and that's a very good point because you want to bring it back to the idea of religion and spiritual texts. Ancient texts that have overlapped in terms of historical worldly events.
Any number of things, yes, precisely.
Yeah, that demonstrates the likelihood, right? But it's still not the physical proof. And I have to bring it back to the court of law, because you go to a court of law, right? And you have a jury. There's a reason. No, really. There's a reason why you have a jury. You need to have multiple vantage points. You have to have multiple people of different ilks of life perceive the same thing. And in the court of law, the word of mouth is not enough, right? So you have a murder case. Let's say you have a murder case, hypothetically, and there's no physical proof. Let's say there's nothing, no photos, no videos. No, not even writings. Let's say there's nothing physical at all. You're in the courtroom, and the only thing you have is word of mouth.
Mm-hmm.
That's not proof.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying is, okay, that's another strong point to
so
make.
What is the
you're right,
proof?
But the court of law doesn't necessarily define what is real and what is not. Are you willing to admit that sometimes in a court of law, somebody is that your cat you're talking to?
No, you. I'm telling you to stop, because
are you willing to? Are you
I'm
willing
on your
to admit,
side.
Are you
I'm
willing
on your
to admit,
side, Patrick?
Okay.
I'm on your side, but I think I think you're being stubborn here.
But yes, I am. I'm very stubborn. Are you willing to admit that in a court of law, sometimes the wrong decision is made?
Never.
Of course.
Okay. So why then do we go to the court of law as the end all be all for what we decide is what is real and what is not real? The court of law is something that was made, it is, well, in our country, not even 200 years ago, not even that time.
Well, you know that the court of law is not the end all be all, but
a little bit over 200
it's
years.
It's about consensus. It's about unanimity in terms of determining something that happened. And my point is that physical evidence is what's usually needed to convince multiple parties. And the same is true of, it would be necessary to prove God. And look, I'll put it to you this way. If you witnessed Jesus, if you were alive at the time and you saw Jesus get hung on the cross, and you saw him get struck by lightning, right, on the cross, and it's a powerful moment, okay, and it's compelling enough to make you believe that this person is a spiritual entity, right?
Uh-huh.
And then he dies, and then 3 days later, you're one of the people who go to the tomb, and you encounter a man who does not look like Jesus, who says,
two of them.
Okay, let me just finish what I'm saying.
Sorry.
And you encounter the man who says he's Jesus, and he goes, "I have returned," and you feel it within you. Okay, I would say that's physical enough. That if you went through that physically, I would say, okay, that's enough proof for all the people who were there to believe in that because it's real enough. But for everyone else on the planet, hearing about it is unfortunately not enough. And I get that.
So you're saying that proof does not necessarily. So, okay, let me get this straight. You're saying you saw Jesus, you went back to the tomb after he was resurrected. You saw him, you know that
I'll
it's
be right back,
Jesus.
guys.
All right, thanks, man. You saw him, you know that it's Jesus. So you know in your heart it is, but it's not enough proof for you to show other people to
Yes.
convince them.
That's my point.
Okay, I see what your point is. At the same time, and maybe you're gonna hate me for saying this, goddamn, but I feel like that is proof. Like your personal experience is as much proof as a human can offer.
But we have true, but we have liars in the world, unfortunately.
We do, but oftentimes you can sniff them out by. I mean, there's many ways to sniff out liars, but
I believe that there's other reasons why Jesus is actually irrefutable, but I won't get into that tonight because that's a whole
bro, we
another
got to get into
long
that at some point,
that's a
though.
long conversation. But this is just the begin. That's the tip of the iceberg right there. But I believe that there are other reasons that you could delve into that actually demonstrate why Jesus is the Lord and why, that actually is true. But I'm just arguing that it's technically not proof, and you know what I mean by that.
I know what you mean by that because our definitions of proof are different. I've realized that's the sticking point here.
Yeah.
I say proof is one thing. You say proof is a different thing. And so when we present our proofs, they're not the same thing. So we're coming to a head here, which is actually important when you note for those at home listening, when you engage in a dialogue, because this has been a dialogue. It's not an argument between us. We're dialoguing. We're conversing about this subject. We may disagree with one another, but it is a dialogue still because he's being respectful. I'm being respectful. Dialogue is all about defining terms really at the onset, which is what I was trying. I was trying to get you guys to believe in my definition of the word proof. I think is what was going on there.
I know what you were getting at earlier when you said that there's like parallel development throughout history in which the history of the world is there's a commonality across all the religions.
Yeah.
Which is why, the God of Abraham is the one true God.
Exactly.
As opposed to, other people use that phrase.
Exactly.
But there is commonality in that description of God, and that the way the world turned out in and of itself is the proof. I see what you're saying. That's the proof.
Well,
unfortunately, in the modern world, that is to an uneducated person. That's why I said study is necessary.
Right.
Somebody who doesn't read any of this stuff, they're not going to be convinced.
Right. Well, you see that, Carbon, that's what I'm trying to get to the point of, is that many people dismiss religious texts. All of their, especially like say you're a hard-boiled, Bible thumping Christian, you're going to instantly dismiss the Quran. You're going to instantly dismiss the Talmud. You're going to instantly dismiss the Sumerian cuneiform tablets, or any number of religious texts that other people have had. You know what I mean? You're going to look at their religions and you're going to be like, okay, this is just mythological bullshit. You know what I mean? Because I believe in Jesus Christ, and the Bible's the only real thing to me. So what I'm trying to say is that the point I'm trying to make is that it's all fucking real. But you have to come to an understanding of what is more real than other stuff.
You're saying that there are other ways to prove it. There's
exactly.
Other forms
what I'm saying is being a Christian my opinion personally is that Christianity is the one true religion, and you can prove it by studying all of the religions. That's what I'm trying to say.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But you have to be able.
I know that to be true. And
You have to believe those other religions, though. You have to believe that what they said, they actually thought, and they actually believed, and they actually experienced. That's what you know what I mean?
It's hard to say because I'll tell you my own personal experience.
Sure, please.
I've been Christian for most of my life, but I was not Christian in the same sense as I am now. I did not believe the same way until about 5 years ago, being a more mature adult. You know, my faith became completely different in recent years.
Yes.
And study made a difference, reading history made a difference, but also life experience does make a difference. It really does.
Oh yeah.
And learning about people in your life and seeing things happen before your eyes, you know. And because look, I was like, let's say I was 15 years old, I was already a Christian, but I did not believe in Christianity the same way then the way I do now. There's not even close, pretty much, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And it took learning all those other things to really solidify my belief. I'm not going to say I'm an expert on all religions, but I am knowledgeable about many other religions. To a degree, I think it's necessary to learn about other religions and all of history in order to solidify your faith. But yeah, I mean, I would even argue that many, and this is not to insult people, but there's a lot of Christians out there who, they might believe, they say they believe. It's not the same. It's in their heart. It's not the same level of belief as some people who have hardcore experienced it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, yeah. And I get that feeling too when you say that when you were a child, or a child when we were younger. I consider myself a child, younger than the age of 28, I would say. When you were a child, you had a particular religious experience of life, and then you are the way you are now, and it's an entirely different animal. I would say that I fell away from my faith probably for 4 or 5 years. Not that I could never deny that God existed, but I didn't give a shit about anything ever. Like any of the religious stuff, until I started to study all the religions and start to realize that the things that those religions say, that all religions across the world say, they're based in truth. And if you can figure out what the through lines are, like what is actually true and what is not true, and, then it gives your faith a little bit more. Well, I just don't understand how people don't believe those things. I don't understand how people believe what they believe without thinking about certain things. Go ahead, Nicholas.
Since I put
Welcome
my
back.
headphones. Oh, thank you. Since I started listening again, I agree with everything you were just saying. And in fact, that is like, if you want to get to the spiritual part of my beliefs, it's rooted in that we all have the same great mother, that's my feeling behind having compassion for everybody. You know what I mean? That's my reasoning for that, my sort of spiritual reasoning.
Compassion for everybody, Nicholas?
Yes.
Even bitch tits, what's his name again?
You can't feel the compassion in that nickname.
Matt Barr?
Really?
Bitch tits,
Bitch tits
Bar.
Bitch tits bar. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Continue. I'm sorry.
No, but even that.
He's a perfect example. Matt Barr is not. I don't hate Matt Barr. He's lost his way. I feel for him.
Yeah.
He needs to come back. We need to sprinkle some holy water on him.
You sound like a Catholic, Carbon. People are going to start hating you. The Protestants in the chat are going to start calling you a pagan. So you better watch it.
Press a cross against his head.
Even my Matt Barr fake tweet series, I've never said anything that was like hateful towards him or anything like that. I haven't fake apologizing to people, and shit like that.
No, that's good. Continue with your point, though, Nicholas. I'm sorry I interrupted you. You're talking about the Great Mother who has forgiveness for everybody in her heart.
And that's something that's scientifically rooted. I feel comfortable in believing that, and I can feel everything based upon that. I mean, I learned all about, Christianity going to Catholic school as a little kid, and also going to Sunday school and stuff like that. So I mean, I understand it, but I only went to elementary school, to Catholic school. Up until then I started going to, it was almost like Catholic school, but it was actually still public. Like you had to wear uniforms and everything like that. We had to take like Greek and Latin and shit like that. But
Your commie school or something, it sounds like.
No, that's a traditional school. That is what
by the way,
well-bred Catholic ancestors did.
Nicholas, I see you have some symbology behind you on the wall. Are you maybe a 33rd degree Mason?
Oh my God!
What is that? Some gematria you have going on here? What is that?
Ultimately, it is decor.
Decor. We all know.
Look at Dr. Ben.
Dr. Ben is like, he's added Nicholas McHugh to the list. God,
Me?
why
are you out of your mind?
Come on.
Rip that off there.
Take it back to the shop.
Rip that off the page. What are you doing?
Go back to basics, Dr. Ben. Okay, that's much better. Wait a minute. What does that say at the bottom there?
Rip that off the effing page.
Let me read some chats real quick. I'm sorry, folks. I'm so bad at, like, when we get into the conversation, when we get really thick into the conversations, I forget about the chat because it's like, this is such a great conversation. I'm so sorry, folks. That's proof of possible witnesses to events. There's also physical proof if you look at the pattern seen in the Sahara Desert. Bro, don't get me started. It's too late at night. Lamau, the silent majority. This just happened with cold fusion and low temp fusion 11 times. They went to do for the government, failed. So did it happen 11 times? Kevin, DM me about what you mean. I need to know about that. How about you just put your fingers through the holes in his palms rather than look at your feelings? For most people, that's what I'm saying, Mr. Self-Destruct. For most people, they don't believe anything about any of those stories. You know what I mean? Like, they don't have any reason to believe those things are real. That's what I want to give people. So the water and the rocks thing was on Google News, but I learned about it in the Old Testament. But I was so much older then. I'm younger now. He was saying... Gosh, I'm so bad, folks. I want to apologize to the chat tonight for my shitty... I have been so bad at keeping up with the chat. I'm so sorry. You guys are like the lifeblood. And I mean you are the lifeblood of this
You kept up.
this stream.
Wasn't that bad?
I just feel like they brought up some good points that I fucking missed because I didn't bring them up in time. That's what anyway, I'm sorry, guys. Okay. You know what?
2 hour 40-minute mark.
2 hour 40-minute mark. I think we're gonna cut it off for tonight. We're gonna wind down, as they say. The Squid says, translation, I used to be pessimistic, but I found youthful optimism. Bro, you and me, yes. Yes, I would say that. I don't know. Okay, let's just do, before we go tonight, I would like to do a quick recap of everybody's spiritual life. So I'll explain mine real quick, and you'll see what I mean. I started. My parents raised me Roman Orthodox Catholic. I got mad at God because my life wasn't so great. I spent a long time not liking God very much, but never not believing in him. Then he showed me all the crazy shit that's going on in the world and how actually the crazy shit is actually real. Now I'm a hardcore fucking extremist Christian. So I'm kind of being joking, but kind of not. Carvin, how do you feel?
My spiritual history.
Yeah,
my
real
belief
quick.
history.
Right here, level 1.
Okay, well, introduced to Christianity, teenage years.
So wait. That means you, as a child, you were atheist?
Well, as under the age of 10, I didn't really even think about it. But my parents.
Right here, 0. That's where you're at. Go ahead.
Yeah, I guess I'll put it to 0.
You're now 10.
Teenage years, I explored Christianity. Started going to church. Started reading the Bible. And then college into adulthood, kind of let it go, and because of just being busy with life and not really thinking about it and letting the world kind of take over and not believing in it anymore.
Naturally.
So it lowered. And then in my 30s, starting in my 30s, after being a lot more experienced, like I said earlier, went through things, thought about things again, reevaluated, and then now 100% full-fledged, without a shadow of a doubt, a Christian. 100%.
Nice. Dr. Ben, we're starting at 0 when you're 0 years old.
0? What do you mean?
When you just popped out of your mother's vagina.
What about it?
Were you... what were you raised as? Agnostic, atheist, Christian?
Yeah, Jehovah Witness.
Oh, he's over here, folks. He's in a cult. All right, keep going.
What is it you want? I'm a Christian now. Like, if that's what you're asking, like, I don't know.
Okay, so he came back to the light, folks. He's out of the Jehovah's Witnesses. He's into the light. Cool. Nicholas.
There's the whole. It looks pretty good, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, it looks pretty good. Nicholas, where do you fall here? We're gonna start 0 here. 0 years of age.
Is she Asian? What's going on with her face?
Oh my God! Don't be racist.
Was raised Catholic.
Think. Good level 4 here.
Kept going to Catholic school.
Was it the 70s or the 80s?
80s for the most part.
That's kind of okay.
Didn't really do anything with religion, and again, until I was late 20s.
So you slayed in college, is what you're telling us all.
And then I've been, ever since I started learning about it, I tried to apply it to my life as best as possible.
Nice.
For the most part, I translate, like especially in a professional environment. I find it very easy to translate my beliefs into Christian doctrine to be able to discuss it with somebody else. I can use scripture to convince somebody of a religious argument, only because I like winning arguments.
Well, at least you're honest. That's fair enough. All right, cool. I know there was a kind of a weird experiment there at the end.
Patrick, I wanted to talk about some Comicsgate books this week. I know that we're about to wrap up, but
no, you're right.
Week,
I'm sorry. No, I got to bring this up. I'm sorry.
Next week, I want to say next week I want to delve into some Comicsgate books because I've gotten a lot of them recently in the mail and I'm reading through them.
Yes.
So I think we should take some time, maybe devote a show to not talk about anything else other than some books.
You're right.
And delve into some books.
You're gonna call yourself comics something.
Yeah.
My lives in comics. I
Comics
mean, the
skate.
dude is drawing here, obviously, but you know.
That's true.
Folks, let me
Should have some more
show
guests on,
you.
by the way. More people with projects out
I
there.
promised. Well, yes. The thing is people aren't as available as you might think they are, Nicholas. I've asked many people, but no luck. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to show you Death Raider graphic novel. This is by Rob Hunter. You guys know who Rob Hunter is. He did cover B for me on Phenomenon Comic Magazine #1. This is his comic book, Death Raider here. I think he's pretty much finished with the colors now at this point, I think is what he said on Twitter. This book is going to be really crazy, folks. I mean, just fucking look at this. Would you just look at it? It's amazing. I got the shirt and the black and white and the color because I wanted it all. This is the black and white. These are black and white examples here. But folks, this is just amazing work by Rob Hunter, a fantastic, fantastic artist. So you really should pick this up if you can. It's really not that expensive at all. Let's see here. Let's see. The cheapest option here is the $7 PDF, which I don't recommend because PDFs are fucking stupid. What you should do is you should buy his actual comic book, either cover A, cover B, or the midnight cover. They're $25, and shipping is, I think it was like $8. So it's going to end up costing you like $32, $33 or something like that. I would highly recommend that you get the physical copy because, first of all, this is going to be a 72-page comic book, I think is what he said online. 60 to 72 pages is what it's going to be. So you're going to get a fat fucking book with this shit. And I don't mean shit in a negative way. I mean just like it's going to be a fat book of amazing art by Rob. So go ahead and back this right now if you can. Please, please back it if you can right now. I mean, he's so close. 24. Guys, we can get this to 25. I know we can. Please, please, please back this. Let's see here. How many days do we have left? I don't know how many days we have left in this campaign, but we're on Comicsgate Commandos. We're going to try to get that to 25. We're going to try to get that to 25 minimum, and then we're going to go from there, and we're going to see what we can do. So everybody out there who can back, please do so. If all you can do is back the PDF, $7, do that. You know, we'll make it all work in the end. We got to get to 25 though on all that. But Carbon's right. Next Comicsgate Commandos, we're going to talk about a bunch of comics. Carbon, I've got. I haven't finished it yet, but I've got John Malin's book.
Godlike?
Yeah, I've got Godlike.
Yeah, let's talk about God next week. Let's talk about Godlike. I have a review.
Do you have Inglorious Rex too?
Yes.
We never talked about that either, so we should talk about that as well.
And the Sparrow, I got.
I don't have that. Shit.
By Sean and Jenny.
I
want to get into Godlike. I'd love to talk about Godlike. We could talk about Rex too.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, that'll take up a good chunk.
Yeah. And I don't know. Maybe I'll try to ask one of those guys to come on. They'll probably
yeah, why not? Goes to the Badlands, the book by Razorfist.
Bro, I've got that too, so we can talk about that. Yeah, fantastic. Awesome.
Actually, I might get your book before next week also.
You probably will. So if anybody wants to talk about that and shit on me on live stream,
I'll read it before next Wednesday.
Yeah. Thank you everybody who got it. Mr. Self-Destruct, I know you got it. Mr. Self-Destruct, you need to message me in the private, like in my DMs, if like that picture you showed looked like you literally had glitter all over the comic. And if that's the case, like, I mean, I didn't put a glitter bomb in there, so please let me know. I don't want you to have glitter all over your comic book. So please, I can send you another one. Just let me know because it looked on your picture on Twitter like it was really bad. Anyway, thank you, chat, for hanging out. Kevin Everson, the Squid, Mr. Self-Destruct. I completely ignored. Well, we got Gift to Gab too. Thank you, Gift to Gab. Katie did. Thank you. I ignored. Where is he? Vito was here. Thank you, Vito. I had. Gosh. Mr. Skibito. Remember him? Oh my gosh. I'm so bad with the names. Anyway, you guys are amazing. You guys are fantastic. Thanks for coming back. We had a good time with you tonight. And Nicholas McHugh, thanks for showing up, dude. I guess is this your second appearance on stream?
Yes, first appearance on this stream, sir. What rank do I get tonight?
Private.
Yeah. Colonel's right. Private. If you return later, we might promote you a little bit, but this is your first time, so you're a private.
Well, actually, you might be cadet. Which one? What do you think, Patrick?
Cadet's kind of gay. It's also Air Force, so no offense. I'm just saying I don't like the Air Force very much.
My father was in the Air Force.
That makes a lot of sense. So I'm just kidding.
No, Nicholas, thank you for coming on. I appreciate your perspective.
Likewise, yeah, it's very nice talking to you.
Yeah,
I thought we did had a pretty good chat tonight, so I appreciate you letting me.
And we all kind of, we didn't necessarily have the same opinions, but we were able to get along just fine and converse like reasonable adults. So, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is a win. He says the book is clean. Cheers, bro. You fucking freaked me out.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Nicholas. Thank you, Carbon. Thank you, Dr. Ben. You guys have a wonderful night. Oh shit. Fuck. No shit. Oh my god. I forgot to show this one thing. I'm sorry. Before we go, guys, you please